She's been going through some other things.
Okay, it's 9 a.m. on Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. This is the Iroquois County Board. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alt, Bard, Barron, Roger, Bowman, Bowers, Kokenauer, Crow, Curtis, Ducat, Hughes, Johnson, Lynch, McGinnis, McTaggart, Awful, Penny, Sure,
Present.
Young,
Here.
and Dimwall.
Present.
Okay. This is awful.
Oh, yes. Good morning. Today we have Pastor Bart Custer from Trinity Evangelical Church to start the prayer.
Good morning. Four short verses here from the book of Luke. It says, "And the angel said to them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign for you, that you will find a baby wrapped in swaddling cloths and lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among those with whom he is pleased." Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we love you so much. We thank you for the blessing of this day. God, we thank you for the excitement of this Christmas season. And most of all, we thank you for your love and the gift of Jesus Christ. Father, today we ask that you would guard and protect this county. God, that you would heal and restore those that need it, those especially struggling with COVID. And God, we also pray that you would grant wisdom and understanding to this board. For all these things and many more, we pray and ask in faith and pray this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone should have a copy of the agenda in front of them. Do we have a motion to approve? Ducat, seconded by Mr. Hughes. Are there any questions or comments regarding the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Everyone was sent a copy of the minutes from the November 9, 2021 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes? Mr. Zumwalt, seconded by Mr. Bauer. Are there any questions or comments regarding those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Payroll, Mr. Young. Is there a second? Mr. Ducat. Are there any questions or comments regarding payroll? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Bard,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Roger,
Yeah.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Curtis, Ducat,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
McTaggart,
Yes.
Awful, Sure,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Dimwalt,
Yes.
Alt.
Okay, do we have any public comments this morning? Seeing none, we'll move to the chairman comments. First thing I wanted to mention was after the policy and procedure meeting on December 30th, there'll be some people here to introduce the new workforce investment person. And everybody, I'm welcome to attend that. Hopefully we can have a good showing to welcome that new person. I'm not gonna name her right now. You can find out at the meeting on the 30th, okay? Following that, You have in front of you should have a listing of the new committee assignments for the year 2022. We have a motion to approve those assignments. Mr. Duquette, seconded by Mrs. Raffle. Are there any questions or comments on the assignments? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please?
Behrens,
Yes.
Botcher,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Ducat,
Yes.
Hughes, McTaggart,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Sure,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zumwalt,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Ard.
Yes.
Carried.
Okay, outside organization reports.
Jennifer, get the administration like a report of the meeting.
Okay, would you come forward, please?
Certainly. So I will make this as brief as humanly possible. So, I've been super busy in my office. It's kind of been a goofy year, as we all know, COVID and everything, but I have been in my office since the pandemic has hit every single day. Aside from a few doctor's appointments and a couple of ball games and taking time off from my family. We've been full-time for almost 2 years now. I chose to not take the county's health insurance plan, but we are now on county payroll. We have been full-time. Superintendent is on county payroll. IMRF, workman's comp, unemployment are all included in there. Superintendent is only considered an employee for pay and benefit purposes. So we saw 165 active claims for compensation or pension. There was a total of 240 active claims that have not been decided, with a carryover of 76 from the previous year. This is up from 137 total claims from last year. 102 claims have been decided upon, 139 remain active, 28 claims are in the appeals process, either higher level review or supplemental or at the Board of Veterans Appeals. There have been awards totaling $1,222,615.05 that have come into this county. $817,173.80 were annual awards, and $405,442 were in retroactive pay. We have surpassed last year's totals by $164,544.30 on the annual awards total. We are under last year's totals for retroactive pay by $62,175.41. Collectively, we are above last year's combination of retroactive pay and pay awards by $102,368,000.88. We have financially assisted 6 veterans within the commission this year. We are continuing to do outreach at all media facets, the newspaper, radio, social media, and all our valuable assets in getting the word out to our county's veterans. The commission is also a sponsor of the afternoon show on WIQI. That's how we get our word out on media and to the newspaper. The VA continues to work and make decisions on claims. Exams for compensation and pension are being done and submitted with medical evidence sent in by me, telehealth, or by phone, call, or video chat. In certain cases where a conclusive decision can be made, the claim will wait until a in-person exam can be done. Also, the VA is very cognizant of veterans not wanting to come into a medical facility during COVID. The veteran can request to reschedule the compensation and pension exam due to COVID. Doing so will not be held against the veteran as we progress through COVID. Things are opening up at the VA and such. It is a slow process, however, moving on with exams, decisions, and healthcare. NPRC, which is the National Personnel Records Center, also continues to work filling requests. The requests at this time are for burials, homeless veterans, terminally ill veterans, and other very dire need requests. Word has it that NPRC will slowly begin moving forward, fulfilling more records requests as the facility works on bringing more employees back into the building. This is all in response to the pandemic. Typically, they work 3 shifts at NPRC. There's a 24-hour organization. They had to cut their workforce at any given time within that building to 1/3 of what they have in there. Generally speaking, they have 700 to 800 employees working at any one given time, fulfilling responses for medical records, service treatment records, DD-214s, and the such. We have lowered our budget this year from $65,000 to $63,500. We're doing more with less, and I think that's a good thing. We are continuing to serve our veterans. It would be conducive to either hire an admin assistant, or we're actually seeking out feelers for a work study again. That actually was a benefit to us, and I have yet to get back from the colleges, but that is something that when we do hire a work study, the VA pays their wages and they go to school and continue on with their education, and we get the extra help in our office, free of charge to us. Over the summer, I was asked to speak at a ceremony for a veteran that had no next of kin. WCIA was there to document the event, and the commission made the news along with the honor guard from the Cissna Park Legion Post, and that was in honor of Mr. Lindell Sullivan. He passed away. He had no next of kin. We got his plaque and everything for him, and worked with the funeral home in order to get him buried at Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery. If that wouldn't have occurred, he would have been still sitting on a shelf at the funeral home, and so on and so forth. As I stated before, we are doing way better. We're above our averages from previous years. We keep progressing forward. Monetarily wise, you know, we're surpassing our goals that we set for ourselves. And you know, a total over the years, as I started keeping track since I came on board in 2013, we're at $5.5 million as far as money that's coming in from people that have been coming in out of my office, and I think that's pretty good. We're busy. I can't stress that enough. We're busy. We're always busy. There is very little downtime, and you know, I'm happy that I'm able to do this. I've always concluded that as long as I want to treat the person sitting on the other side of the desk as I would want to be treated, and someday my family is going to need that help for my husband and myself. So I'm pleased. We keep progressing forward, and that's all we can do. So does anybody have any questions? I'm done.
Okay.
So I will conclude that.
Mr. Crawford.
Good morning, everyone. Jennifer, she might have, I'm not sure if she's still here. Excellent job. I think that's amazing that she went to the efforts she did for that veteran. And she should be commended for that. So good job, Jennifer. Good morning, Chairman, members of the Iroquois County Board, and guests. I'm Angel Crawford, Executive Director with the Iroquois Economic Development Association. The Iroquois Economic Development Association focuses on helping existing businesses stay open and new businesses get started. To help with these efforts, IDA will be hosting an informational meeting in January to talk about the Advantage Illinois plan through the Illinois Department of Commerce, Office of Business Development. This meeting will include members of the Iroquois and Ford Bankers Association and area lenders. This program was established in 2012 through the State Small Business Credit Initiative, and this was part of the Small Business Job Act in 2010. In 2017, the funding, which was $78 million, was turned over to the state, and the program continues on by recycling funds. This year, additional funding through Arpa, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, was allocated for $330 million, with the first round being distributed in the first half of 2022, which will be around February. By working with the state's banking community and venture capitalists, DCEO would buy a portion of the loan from the participating bank And if the borrower defaults, the bank would be paid first and DCO would be paid second. Funding from this program may be used for many purposes, including but not limited to startup costs, working capital, business procurement, franchise fees, equipment, inventory, as well as the purchase, construction, renovation, and tenant improvements of an eligible place of business that is not passive real estate investment purposes. And for more information on this January meeting, you can call our office and we'll be glad to let you know about that information. In November, Iroquois County launched their Arpa funding program. Iroquois County will allocate funds for qualified businesses, non-for-profit entities, projects, or direct to individuals based upon the Arpa rules, location, need, impact, and equity. With the knowledge that municipalities receive their own allocations, focus will be on rural areas of the county infrastructure, and potential future emergency-related issues. Applications can be found on the county website under the menu. Look for the section called I Want To and download it from there. And if you have additional questions, you can call the Iroquois County Finance Department at 432-6955, or you can call our office and we can email you a copy of that too. We would like to work in conjunction, and there's already been quite a few different people that have called and asked for that. And in closing, we have good news, and I know Chairman didn't say anything, but I figured since it was already shared with us, and it's right around the corner, it's next week being announced, I will say that we have a new case manager for workforce development. Justin Arnold with Champaign County Regional Planning Commission, the director for workforce development for Iroquois County, let us know that Cheyenne Denoyer started the position last Monday. Cheyenne is a graduate from Watsika High School and grew up in Iroquois County. Did you know that workforce development can help young adults through paid internships, scholarships, and professional career advice? Also, job seekers who live in Iroquois County or who were laid off from a company in Iroquois County or Central Illinois may apply for a grant to attend local training programs to get new skills and obtain a professional certification to be more marketable in their job search. And if they're currently receiving unemployment benefits, they can continue to receive them while taking these classes. For more information on workforce development, please call our office at 432-0072. And thank you for your time. May everyone have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Are there any other outside organizations reports this morning? Seeing none, we'll move it on to the committee report. Members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred policy and procedure would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on December 2, 2021 at 9 a.m. Members present were Sure, All, Bard, Awful, and Young. Lyle Barons and Michael McTaggart were absent. Also present, County Clerk Brian Suber, County Engineer Joel Moore, Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler, and Treasurer Kurt Albers. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Young and seconded by all to approve the agenda. The motion carried by a roll call vote. There were no public comments. The committee chairs gave their monthly reports. Tax Planning and Zoning Chairman Bard reported the committee will hear their standard reports. There are also 2 kennel licenses to review and take action on. Health Chairman Awful reported the committee will hear their regular reports from the Health Department and Animal Control. IT Chairman Young reported an update will be given on the courthouse phone installation. Highway Chairman Alt and County Engineer Joel Moore reported the Highway Committee will take action on a petition for county aid for a bridge in Loda Township. Also, a resolution for the county engineer's annual salary will be reviewed and voted on. County Board Chairman Sure informed the committee he is preparing a revised committee assignment list. The list should be complete by the December 14 board meeting. The listing will show a reduction in meeting sizes in anticipation of the reduced county board members for next year. Also, the Finance Committee and the IT Committee will be combined. An update was given on sexual harassment training. Overall completion is at 95%. The majority of those not completing the training are county board members and part-time employees. Sure discussed Senate Bill 536, which was signed by the governor on November 15, and encompasses many election items. County boards have until December 31 to complete their reapportionment before a county apportionment committee is required to be convened. Sure noted this has already been completed. Also, county boards are now required to divide their election precincts so that each precinct shall contain, as near as may be practicable, 1,200 registered voters. The General Assembly is also requiring the county board to change the boundaries at a regular or special meeting within 60 days after the effective date of this amendatory act. Sure said that he has discussed these items with County Clerk Brian Suber, and she believes the precincts and boundaries we currently have are in agreement with this legislation. Suber added the only precincts that she feels would be beneficial in combining can't be done because we are under township organization. Suber can prepare a resolution that indicates what all of the polling places would be, but this doesn't have to be acted on until January. Discussion was held on establishing an ordinance covering raffles and poker run. Suber noted the committee needs to determine a fee and the length of time for the license. Young stated he would prefer a small amount due to the fact that most money made from these events is charity-based. It was moved by Raffle and seconded by Young to request State's Attorney Jim Devine prepare an ordinance allowing Iroquois County to charge a $5 application fee for raffles and poker runs. The application fee will run concurrently with the liquor licenses and will be effective for 1 year. A roll call vote was taken, that motion carried. It was moved by Raffle and seconded by Bard to enter into executive session at 9:42 a.m. under 5 ILCS 120/2/C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. That motion carried by a voice vote. It was moved by Alpha and seconded by Young to come out of executive session at 10:18 a.m. That motion carried by a voice vote. It was moved by Young and seconded by Alpha to create the position of zoning administrator and refer to the Finance Committee with input from Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergar. The roll call was taken. That motion carried. Appointments include Dan Raymond being reappointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals for it's not a 1-year term, it's a 5-year term? I believe it's a 5-year term. Anyway, Mr. Raymond is being reappointed. Sure is also looking for a member to serve on the ETS board, and Yergar is looking for 2 members to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Sure said there is a need to somehow broadcast these vacant positions. Correspondence was distributed to the committee. There was no old business, there was no new business, as there was no further business to come before the committee. It was moved by Young and seconded by Raffle to adjourn at 10:26 a.m. That motion carried by a voice vote. All of which is respectfully submitted. The report is signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption. Is there a second? Mrs. Raffle. Are there any questions or comments regarding the report? Mr. Zumwalt.
Testing. I wondered why, what was the thinking behind, or why do we have to even dip our toe into trying to collect money for raffles and poker runs?
The state, it's a requirement from the state has a law regarding this. The clerk can describe it probably better than I can, but essentially, there was an incident that occurred out at the Shawami Country Club recently where somebody from the state was doing an inspection there, and at the same time, they were having a raffle, and it was noted that the county does not have any ordinance covering this, so it's something we need to get done.
Okay.
I
So-
asked the same question.
Right, so I can elaborate a little further. In 2015, they passed a raffle and poker run ordinance that counties have to pass, either saying yes or no that you're allowing raffles or poker runs. If you don't pass one, that means you're saying no. That means there can be no raffles anywhere in county jurisdiction. So like at bars, at the fairgrounds, any kind of raffle that's being held was basically not allowed, because we don't have an ordinance saying that they can. So if we pass an ordinance that says they can, that allows them to have them legally, so the state doesn't shut them down, basically.
So is this gonna be like the cat ordinance, one that we don't enforce?
I don't know what it's gonna be, because it's just like I described in the Policy and Procedure Committee. There are fireworks permits that are required to be obtained by people that light off any firework in the county, like if you light them off on your farm. You're required to have a permit from the county. It's a $2 permit. I see fireworks go off all over this county, and I say, they don't have a permit. So I don't know, I assume it's probably, like if people call into our office, and they do, and ask if we have an ordinance, and we tell them no.
Then we're open to.
Right, so that's why the state asked us to either pass one, yes or no, then we can tell them, no, you cannot hold a raffle to raffle off a gun at the fairgrounds or something like that.
Okay,
I think, yeah, Mrs. Crowe?
Well, I question the same thing John does, and I don't like it very much, but okay, if it's state law, I would like to see that added to the minutes that we're doing this, not because but we want that $5, but because state law requires it.
Right.
And the other, so if I understand correctly, if the church auctions or raffles off a quilt, we have to give a $5 permit.
Well,
If they're in the rural areas, they do.
That's if you choose to actually ask.
Yeah.
right,
In rural areas, oh, okay, so churches in town
right,
will not have to get the permit.
right, but you would have to get one from the city or village. And technically, they're supposed to have an ordinance. And like when this was first passed, I remember all of us reading the ordinance, and it was like that the county may establish a Raffles poker run license. So it was like, okay, if we may, we don't have to, right? Like
Right.
that's what the statute
It
says.
doesn't say shall.
Right, however, you cannot hold one without having a license, is what the statute goes on to say. And that's where it gets kind of sticky that, yes, you do have to have one in order to hold a raffle, is where the state is at on that. So,
I'm getting hit up for a while.
I know, it's crazy.
You can be the-
But like I said, this law was passed in 2015. We didn't do anything then because it was a shall-may situation, and then upon receiving word from the state, and I don't know that they're going to be policing it unless they're just policing it in our liquor license establishments where they do their annual inspections. And that's just how this got brought up, is at Shawami's annual inspection, and they were having a raffle, and so they called, and that's when they informed me that they wouldn't write them up this time, but if it continues, then, so that's why they strongly encourage the county to pass an ordinance. So
So my next question is, when you say you tie it to the liquor license, does that mean instead of whatever the liquor license fee is for that particular establishment, it'll be +5?
no, they don't have to
Or the
apply
bar
for it.
collects it?
They don't have to, like, whoever's holding the license would have to apply for it. Like whoever's holding the raffle, I'm sorry,
Okay,
would have to apply for the license.
okay, that's. what
And the reason for doing it along with the liquor license is it just makes sense to do it for a continuous year. Cause there might be like a organization, and I'm gonna use them even though they're not in county jurisdiction, like the Elks here in Watsika. They hold raffles all the time. That's what the city of Watsika designed their ordinance for liquor license holders that are going to be doing raffles a lot. And so they don't have to continuously get a license, and it would be for a continuous year. So let's say someone, and I'm going to use Toys for Tots, let's say they wanna hold something at the Isles in Buckley or at a church outside of town, and they wanna hold a raffle, then they could get a raffle license for the one day, but it would be good for an entire year. But it would be continuous with the liquor license, so liquor license ends in June. So if they got a license in May, it would only be good for a month, and then they'd have to get another license. But we do like quarter year license for liquor license and half year, but I don't know if $5 is gonna make or break a.
So you're saying everything in regards to the liquor license, if a church wants to get one,
Why don't we just include it as part of the liquor license?
well, then that's.
Because it's not including fraternal organizations that might want to hold something at the fairgrounds, or an organization that wants to hold something at fairgrounds or at some place
So,
in
Can
county
we just give
jurisdiction.
blanket approval that everybody that ever wanted one is already pre-approved?
is there?
I don't know that the law works that way. Jim Devine would be able to answer that.
Or could
but-
we abate the fee, we charge it, but we're not.
Right, I mean, it's just one of those laws that was passed, like I said, in 2015, and we're required to either, if we're gonna allow the raffles and poker runs to go on in the county, we have to pass the ordinance.
Does it say in the statute the minimum is $5?
No, it does not.
So we could set it at $1.
Set it at whatever you want.
We can set it at zero.
The reason that it was set at $5 was, felt that it was an amount of money that would not inconvenience anybody. At the same time, it would cover some of the costs of the county in providing that. There's obviously a cost to the county in issuing a permit.
I get it.
So my question was, if a church wanted to have it, theirs would, they could get one license and have multiple raffles for the year?
Yeah, it would be a 1-year license that would be good for
Can we
any.
make it 10-year?
I would assume that you probably could.
It's like a 50-year one.
I don't know for sure what the statute says
I
on
say
that.
50 cents for 50 years.
We have a 1-year lease with the courthouse for $1, or a 100-year lease with the old courthouse for $1, so I don't know. Jim Devine would have to answer that, because I'm not sure what the statute says on how
And
long the
sometimes
license.
we just need to provide a service to our taxpayers, I know there's
Agreed.
paperwork involved, I know it takes
This would
time.
make it easier. If you gave them a 50-year license, you'd never see them again.
This is true.
In this lifetime.
I guess my recommendation would be that we leave it the way it is at the moment, or being presented, and if we get enough feedback from different individuals or organizations in the county, we can always change it in the future.
So are we actually passing an ordinance now?
You are not.
Well, we're asking Jim Devine to prepare an ordinance, and we should hopefully be here at the meeting in January.
Well, I'd just like for the public to know that the board thinks that this is hooey too.
We could put that in the minutes.
The board thinks this is hooey too.
We can if you would like it filled out that way.
And I think maybe a $1 fee says that, like, we're doing it because we have to.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments about the report from the Policy and Procedure Committee? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Botcher.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Ducat. Hughes.
Yes.
McTaggart.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Bard.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, Management Committee, Mr. Barron.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee Luminous Report of Management Services and Beg League will submit the following report on matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on December 6, 2021 at 9 a.m. Members present were Barron, Hall, Bowers, Dukoff. Kevin Bowman, Sherry Johnson, and John Zumo were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Scher, Finance Manager Jill Johnson, Maintenance Supervisor Chris Drake, and Sally Allhands. The meeting was called to order. It is moved by Paul Bowers, second by Paul Dukoff to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. During public comments, Sally Allhands introduced herself to the committee. Ms. Allhands is daughter of Phyllis Jameson, former Iroquois County coroner and former Iroquois County board member. Upon noticing the trees that were removed at the courthouse, the Allhands family would like to plant new trees along with a plaque to memorialize Ms. Jameson. It was moved by Bowers and seconded by Dukoff to allow the Allhands family to plant trees and place a plaque at the courthouse in memory of Phyllis Jameson, former Iroquois County coroner and former Iroquois County board member. Motion carried by a voice vote. Maintenance Supervisor Chris Drake reported included the following. Drake reviewed his fiscal year 21 budget line items with the committee. The issue with the leak in the chiller has been resolved. Drake spoke to the committee about a trade proposal with McCullough Implement. This includes trading the skid steer for a 6-foot snow pusher with pullback kit, tires and rims. The snow pusher is valued at $1,500. Pullback kit is valued at $500. Tires and rims are valued at $1,000. McCullough Implement guaranteed $3,000 for the skid steer. It's not the skid steer. We have a John Deere tractor that we're trading in. The stuff we're getting is to go on a skid steer that the highway department has given to us. So, yeah. Anything over $3,000 trade guarantee price will be remitted to the county, less our 15% commission. It's moved by Dukoff and second by Charlie Paul to accept the trade proposal from McCullough Implement. Roll call vote is taken, motion carried. Trees were purchased for jail kitchen. For Sheriff Clint Brzee, Drake is constructing an interview room in the jail. Alt requested Brzee inform the committee of any improvements to the jail. Drake purchased a second snow blower, one for the administrator and one for the courthouse. Dukoff suggested Drake get prices on an enclosure for the skid steer. County farm was discussed, the crop is off, but is unsure if the soil has been tested. Tile has also been budgeted for 2022. Discussion was held on bidding out contract for animal control building. Drake stated the area has been marked by joint utility locating information for excavators. Julie, the bidding process consists of advertising on the county's website and local newspapers. Finance Manager Jill Johnson will also send bid packets to the 2 contractors she has been in contact with. All stated, the committee should have the opportunity to review the bid packet prior to putting it out for bid. Johnson will have the bid packet prepared for the board meeting on December 14th. It is moved by Barron and seconded by Alt to develop and send the bid packet for animal control building pending approval of the county board. Motion carried by a voice vote. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Bowers, seconded by Dukoff to pay the claims subject to county board approval. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. During old business, Drake noted one of the capital improvement projects for the administrative center is a renovation of the old Head Start into an employee break room and bathroom. The project will need to be put out for bid and is budgeted at approximately $30,000. Drake recommended the committee view the area to get better understanding of the project. Also, the kitchenette will be a lactation room. The committee recessed at 9:45 a.m. to view the area being renovated. The committee came back into session at 10:03 a.m. Is moved by Dukoff and seconded by Bowers to request maintenance supervisor Chris Drake develop a bid packet for the restroom and break room remodel and to put the project out for bid. Motion carried by a voice vote. There was no new business. As there is no further business, I declare the committee is moved by Bowers and seconded by Dukoff to adjourn the meeting at 10:22 a.m. Motion carried, all of which is respectfully submitted and for its adoption. Any questions?
We have a motion on the floor to approve the management committee report, and we have a second. Mr. Bard, do we have any questions or comments regarding the report? Mrs. Crowe?
About the, old Head Start area becoming a break room and a bathroom, that's a large area.
Well, there's already a bathroom there, it's just, the
Renovate.
toilets are about 12 inches off.
I understand. I've been in there recently. But my thought is, over the years, it's been my observation and several others, that we continually, that it comes up that we need more office space, or we need more storage, or this one needs more room, or this department needs more, that department needs more room. So I hope in these renovations, we're allowing for that to be utilized again as an office space, should that be necessary. That I hope that we can use that bathroom and kitchen area and still have an office in an arrangement, if it becomes necessary.
Yes, there's already, the bathroom and kitchen
I know.
area are separate, and then the other, and it's gonna be break room and also a meeting room, and I know they've already used it when they were going through the insurance stuff. I know they were using that room for that.
And then today, we currently have auditors on site and they're in there.
So it's break room and secondary meeting room type of thing.
Isn't a lactation room required too? Is it by now and somewhere in the law or something?
We're looking into that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I thought
it's
it was.
required
At one point they did.
at the jail. Someone questioned whether it's required here.
Yeah.
So we were gonna look into that with the state's attorney to see exactly how the law reads,
Did you mean at the courthouse? Was it
Yes.
required at the courthouse?
which they already have one there,
Right.
so.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments about the report? Everybody understands the part that needs to be corrected about deal with call and implement? There are no further questions or comments, the clerk will call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Ducat,
Yes.
Hughes, McTaggart,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Sure,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zumwalt,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Bard,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Botcher.
Yes.
Okay, Health Committee, Mrs. Awful.
Yes. Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred health would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on December 7th, 2021 at 9 a.m. Members present were Barb Awful, Roger Bard, Ernie Curtis, and John Zumwalt. Kevin Kokenauer and Thomas Lynch were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Scher, Finance Manager Jill Johnson, ICPHD Administrator Dee Shippert. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by John Zumwalt and seconded by Ernie Curtis to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Roger Bard and seconded by John Zumwalt to pay the claims subject to county board approval. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. During public comments, County Board Chairman John Scher took a moment to acknowledge Pearl Harbor Day, noting that today is the 80th anniversary of one of the most significant days in the history of our country. Finance Manager Jill Johnson reported there are currently 3 dogs in foster care. Open cases include a noise barking complaint and a dog-on-dog attack, which involved the owner being injured while trying to intervene. Both cases are being handled by the state's attorney's office. The animal control officers closed 8 cases during the month. There were 7 animal bites, 2 of which were cat bites. The registration deposit for November was $8,730. Johnson is currently preparing a bid packet for the animal control building. Johnson is also working on the American Rescue Plan Act, Arpa, application for the building. The animal control officers took their humane investigator class through the Illinois Department of Agriculture last week. Johnson is awaiting their test results. County IDs were printed for the officers to carry with them while on calls. Lastly, Johnson said an initial kennel check has been done on 7 of the 11 existing kennels. This is something that should be done annually going forward. The remaining kennel checks will be completed this month. ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert updated the committee on COVID-19, stating there has been a tremendous increase in cases. Shippert reported the following statistics. 192 new cases last week, 4,804 cases to date. 81 individuals have passed away with COVID-19. Currently, 43.56% of the total population in Iroquois County is vaccinated. Ages 5 through 11, 3.9%. Ages 12 through 17, 27.18%. Ages 18 through 64, 48%. And ages 16 plus, 27.28%. Shipper noted the Delta variant is predominant in the cases the health department has seen. While vaccinated individuals can still get COVID-19, their symptoms are not near strong as those that are vaccinated. Boosters are being given to everyone, and there is an expectation to not feel well after receiving the booster. Shepard stressed that the COVID-19 vaccine is not a live virus vaccine, and you cannot get the virus from the vaccine. The contact tracing grant ends this month, but has been extended through March 30th, 2022, and is being overlapped with another grant that will be available January 17th, 2022. Each county is being allocated an amount to continue contact tracing that will be retroactive to January 1st, 2022, and will go through June 30th, 2023. The mass vaccination grant that was supposed to end December 30th, 2021, has been extended and amended to go through December of 2022. Shepard explained that grant funds are being used for staff overtime and groceries for those that are isolated or quarantined. Shepard reviewed the summary report of programs for fiscal year 2021 with the committee. Environmental Health performed 403 food inspections, 34 re-inspections, issued 200 permits and 74 temporary permits. There were 201 water sample kits tested. Also, 46 new well inspections were performed. 14 non-community well surveys. Issued 45 permits for new wells, issued 39 permits for sealed wells, and performed 27 inspections for sealed wells. Environmental Health completed 37 private sewage inspections and performed inspections on 43 garbage waste haulers. There were 234 mosquito samples collected for West Nile surveillance. There were 457 tobacco compliance inspections for the year. Immunizations include 887 childhood immunizations, 65 adult shots, 401 flu shots, 11 pneumonia shots, and 14,169 COVID-19 vaccinations. For fiscal year 2021, 51 animal bites were reported and 28 rabies cases were investigated. In the TB program, there were 3 new cases investigated with 4 patients on medication. The jail program included an assessment of 107 inmates during the fiscal year. Vision screens were provided for 2,110 children, and hearing screens were provided for 2,559 children. Senior Services is providing care for 188 individuals. Lastly, Shepard discussed the Emergency Senior Services grant that was approved. The grant is for individuals ages 60 and older that will allow them to remain in their homes by assisting with items such as groceries and medical needs. There was no old business, there was no new business. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Zumwalt and seconded by Bauer to adjourn at 9:35 a.m. The motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted, and I move for its adoption.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the Health Committee report. Is there a second? Mr. Duquette. Are there any questions or comments regarding the report? I would like to add one comment that the report states 192 cases of COVID. That was the week before the one that just was completed. The report in the week that just was completed, I believe, was 186. Is that right, Mr. Stacy?
I can't recall off the top of my head, to be honest, but it sounds about right.
The point being that we're having a resurgence of this COVID throughout the county. I think we need to be aware of it. I'm sure the health department will be continuing to monitor, but certainly want everybody to be aware of what's occurring. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Crowe?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Ducat,
Yes.
Hughes, McTaggart, Awful, Sure,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zumwalt,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Bard,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bodger,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes. Tax, planning and zoning, Mr. Bard.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred tax zoning would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on December 7, 2021 at 9:40 a.m. Members present were Barb, Zumwalt, Curtis, and Awful. Kokenauer and Lynch were absent. Also present County Board Chairman John Scher, Finance Manager Jill Johnson, Treasurer Kurt Albers, County Clerk Brian Suver, Supervisor of Assessment Bob Yergler, ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert, Paulette Waltz, Mike Daniel Lewinsky, and Margaret Fox. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Barb Awful and seconded by Zumwalt to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Awful and seconded by Zumwalt to pay the claims subject to county board approval. A roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. There were no public comments. The department heads gave their monthly reports. County Clerk Suver reported a Zoom meeting was held last Thursday with all county clerks and the State Board of Elections regarding changes to election laws that are happening for the 2022 election cycle. Suver said she wanted to make the committee members aware as she believes this is something that will cause confusion for registered voters and will also be a large expense. Suver explained that before the primary election, the county clerk's office is required to send a letter out to every registered voter regarding their ability to sign up for a permanent vote by mail list. Signing up is optional, but the county clerk's office is required by law to mail the letters out. If a voter signs up for a permanent vote by mail list, they will still be required to sign an application to vote, but it will trigger the county clerk's office to mail an application for the ballot for future elections. Suver continued that once the primary election is over and before the general election, any registered voter that didn't sign up for the permanent vote by mail list will receive an additional letter from the county clerk's office informing them of their ability to sign up for the permanent vote by mail list. Suver also reported the statements of economic interest forms have changed considerably and advised everyone to pay close attention to the forms when filling them out. Taxing bodies are continuing to file their budgets and levies. Drainage levies should be in by the end of the month. Lastly, the primary election is June 28th, 2022. Petition circulation will begin on January 13th, 2022. Filing will be March 7th, 2022 through March 14th, 2022. County Treasurer Kurt Albers reported the final tax distribution was completed last month. Most taxing bodies have received their tax distributions. There are a few tax distributions that are being held due to the Treasurer's office not receiving the taxing bodies' published reports as required by law. Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler reported Board of Review complaint period ended December 3rd. They are preparing tentative decisions and final hearings will be held. The planning and zoning report for November was distributed to the committee as follows. Building permits, November 2021, agricultural 3, residential 4, wind tower 0. Building permits, fiscal year 2021, residential 83, agricultural 17, wind tower 0. Building inspections, November 2021, 7. Zoning Board of Appeals, November 30, 2021. Paulette Waltz applied to acquire a kennel license located in section 33, Beaver Township, 28 North, R11W of 2nd PM. The permanent identification number is 13-33-300-006. The tract is located at 2430 North, 2700 East Road, Donovan, Illinois, 60931. Ms. Waltz addressed the committee about her application for a kennel license to breed Great Danes. Ms. Waltz explained she has a 20 by 24 Morton building that is heated and insulated. There are 4 5 by 5 kennels inside with attached outside dog runs that are 5 by 10. Ms. Waltz plans to have 1 male, 4 adult breeding females, and 4 puppies to raise for when the dogs retire. That should be 4 litters of puppies. Covers have been installed above the dog runs. The ground for the dog runs consists of concrete pavers with gravel underneath, but will eventually put concrete in. Pictures of the kennel was provided to the committee. In regards to drainage, Ms. Waltz said that there is a septic system particular for animal waste that has been installed. The system requires enzymes be added to break down the animal waste. Tax zoning chairman Roger Bard verified with ICPHD administrator D. Shippert that this is acceptable. Shippert said that she would verify the process with Director of Environmental Health Ryan Wheeler, but the health department does not regulate animal waste, only human waste. If the kennel has a hand washing sink, which Ms. Waltz confirmed it does not, then it would be needed tied to a septic system. Ms. Waltz successfully had 1 litter this summer and believes she will have another litter in January. The maximum number of dogs in the kennel is 12 with the intent of 6 litters each year. It was moved by Zumwalt and seconded by Awful to approve the kennel application for Paulette Waltz. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. The kennel application and setback variance for ICO was discussed. Mike Danielewski spoke on behalf of ICARE, stating Director of Environmental Health Ryan Wheeler had completed the inspection on their septic system. Also, a meeting was held with State's Attorney Jim Devine and County Board Chairman John Scher regarding the criminal charges against Margaret Fox. Margaret Fox with ICARE explained the shelter is a 501c3 nonprofit. The shelter operates with approximately 50 local volunteers. The typical intake cost for a dog is between $1,500 to $3,000. These costs are covered by donation. The cost to adopt a dog is $200. A thorough background check is completed along with a home visit. It was moved by Awful and seconded by Attorney Curtis to approve the kennel application and setback variance for ICARE. Ms. Fox invited the committee to tour their new facility. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Discussion on building permit enforcement fines and penalties was tabled until the next meeting. Discussion on publication of rural homesteads was tabled until the next meeting. Suver presented the monthly resolution list showing 2 parcels being sold by the county trustee. Both parcels are located in Milderport Township. The parcels were sold at the base price and the county will be receiving $704. It was moved by Zumwalt and seconded by Raffle to approve the resolutions authorizing the sale of properties located in Milderport Township. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. There was no old business, there was no new business. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Zumwalt and seconded by Raffle to adjourn at 10:21 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted by the undersigned, and I move for its approval.
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the tax and zoning committee report. Is there a second? Mrs. Raffle. Are there any questions or comments regarding the report?
I have a few comments, please.
Okay.
It's on this application for Ms. Waltz. I'm doing some of my own math, on how many pups would be in a year. And these are Great Danes and they're very large dogs. And, they can have up to 12 puppies or more. And you're talking 12 pups per litter times 6 would be 72 pups in a year, if not more. She has 4 females. I don't know, I just question if it's like a puppy mill. I'm just a little bit concerned about that. And then also when, we were talking with her about the screening process of the buyers, she really couldn't give on the background on how she would go along with the plan, how to, screen them real well to make sure they're going to good homes. I don't know. I'd like some discussion on it.
Ms. Waltz, is she here?
Yes.
Would you care to respond?
My background screen is a large group of questions. I checked to make sure that people are familiar with the breeds. All 12 of my puppies that went out went to current owners of Great Danes or past owners of Great Danes. There's a series of questions on the knowledge of them because they are particular. They can be known for stomach issues. So they have to be on specific foods and fed certain ways, so I go through all of that with the owners. Obviously, they're large dogs, so I make sure they're going to houses that are capable of housing large dogs. And obviously, family, these dogs are raised around my family, so they're familiar with kids, and my kids love them, and other dogs, so all of those things go. I don't just sell my puppy to whoever's gonna give me money. I'm very particular on that. I also have in my contract that the dogs come back to me if for some reason their living circumstances change and they can't handle it, because I don't want dogs winding up in homes that aren't capable of taking care of them or being thrown in shelters. So they will come back to me and I will find a suitable person to take care of them again. As far as the number of litters, there's 4 dogs. They go into heat generally every 9 months. So it's anywhere from 4 to 6 litters a year. Yes, they're capable of producing 12 puppies a litter. Will every one of them have 12 puppies every litter? No. The one lady I have, she's had 2 litters and both of her litters were 4 puppies. To me, a puppy mill is somebody who doesn't care about their dogs, who just shove them all in there, just breed to make money.
Mrs. Crowe?
Well,
What would be a reasonable estimate of how many, puppies you would expect to have out of your 4 females? I mean, how many did you,
40 to maybe 60 a year.
how many did you have in your first litter?
12.
You did have 12?
She actually had 14. We lost 2, which the vet said is very common. The fact that we were able to keep 12 was really surprising. But that is not on the common end. It's more 8 to 10 on average.
Is there anyone else that has any questions or comments?
Are you affiliated with some of the other breeder organizations, I'm sure?
Oh yeah, AKC. Yep, I'm in with them, and I have multiple breeders in multiple states that I've been in a lot of contact with that help me in the process and teach me what they do and how they do things.
There was a question too, wasn't there, about cement?
Well, yes, the ordinance, county ordinance says concrete or some type of surface like that. Now, I believe Miss Waltz currently has patio pavers, but it's not set in concrete, it's just set on the ground. But you did say you will be setting those in concrete in the future?
They're currently concrete patio pavers, but that was to get up and running, so, ideally, we will put concrete out there, 2 10-by-10 slabs. There's just a lot of money being thrown out to get started that I have to limit myself, so eventually, and I started this in September, October, where the weather isn't the greatest, so once we get good weather in the spring, summer, hopefully then the concrete can be poured.
Concrete can be poured all year long.
I don't know, my husband just said now wasn't the time to be pouring concrete, I don't.
Today's environment, you can pour concrete pretty much all year long.
But I do know right now it's hard to find contractors. That's been a lot of my whole life.
I guess the point is that I believe the board feels that the sooner you can get concrete in, the better it'll be.
Oh, I agree, because it'll be easier on me, but
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Comment, please. I talked with a vet between last week's meeting and this meeting. And this is a graduate of U of I Veterinary School. And I mentioned the fact that you were thinking of 6 litters from 4 bitches in a year's time. And she said that after the first litter, why the bitch should go through 1 cycle of heat and then not be bred until the second time she comes into heat. Now, I don't know if you talked to your vet about this, but this is a person who works for a clinic that has 5 vets working for it, and she was, like I say, just out of the University of Illinois 4 years ago.
there's arguments on that both ways. You can find a vet who's gonna tell you to breed back to back, and you're gonna find a vet to tell you to skip heats. It's just the way it is. But the more recent studies and more people are going towards, it is better on the animal's body to breed them back to back. The younger they are, the better. Their bodies can handle it.
else have any thoughts? Mrs. Crowe?
This board's questioning is probably based in some past practices of less than ideal results with people and pets, animals. So that's where this is coming from. However, what, do you have a plan for if all the puppies don't sell? Because that's an area that can be problematic. If you have 40, 48, 50 puppies a year, and you do not have sales for all of them, then what would be the plan for the surplus puppies?
Well, first of all.
Sounds like a lot of puppies to me.
Yeah, nowadays with social media and all that, there's tons of, honestly, there's not a lot of great Dane breeders in the area. There's not a lot in general, and Danes are very highly sought after dogs. So with social media and all that, I already have lists of people for my next litters. I'm not saying it's not possible that I got lucky on my last. My 12 were all sold before they were even old enough to leave my house. But obviously that's when you come to the point where, I mean, it's not about making money, it's about getting them to houses that are loved. So if I have to drop prices or even give puppies, that's what we'll do. And obviously when I have 4 that are producing, if it gets to the point where I am, then I don't breed one heat cycle and see where we go from there.
I'm assuming markets, they're a hot commodity now, but markets change, you know, all the time.
I think one of the things that the board needs to keep in mind too is noted in the health committee report that the animal control wardens are gonna be conducting frequent inspections. And when they find a kennel that is not in compliance, there are steps that can be taken to either correct that or even so far as to deny or revoke their license. So I think some of this is protections that we have that should help to, some of our concerns could be handled. But that's something I wanted to bring out. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns? Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, in the top on page 3 of this thing, it says, criminal charges against Margaret Fox. Did you address something with the guard? What did that involve? Who is she?
Mrs. Fox is here with us this morning. She wants to comment on that.
I'm Margaret.
Can you speak loud enough so we can all hear you?
Sure, I'm Margaret and I represent Iroquois County Animal Rescue. I'm the current president and the founder. And I've been in this position since 2008. It's a volunteer position, and I'm on paid for my work. It's a 501c3 organization, which means we're a charity like the March of Dimes or the American Cancer Society. And how we get that classification and that status is by proving that we spend far more on the animals than what we take in as income. As far as the criminal charges pertaining to myself, that has to do with an incident, I believe it was 8 or 9 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, wherein a dog that was came to our shelter, brought in by a citizen that was severely emaciated and also had clear signs of abuse. I refused to return the dog to the owner pending animal control and police investigation. And how it turned out was that I refused to give the animal back to the owner. And in the end, the owner did end up getting the dog back, and I was charged with theft.
Okay.
with that explanation?
Yeah.
The investigating officer is also present with us this morning, if you want to go into any further depth on that.
No, I just, it wasn't, I didn't, nobody had called that, so.
Very good. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
I have a question. Can we take this paragraph with Ms. Watts out and vote just on that one?
You wanna remove for separate consideration?
Right.
Okay, we have a motion to remove that paragraph for separate consideration. So on the second page, it's to the last paragraph. Is there a second for the motion? Mr. Hughes, second for the motion. Are there any questions or comments regarding what the motion is?
Why don't you, John, we do have a member involved, explain the process. So
Motion's been made to separate out the paragraph on the second page of the report, this paragraph right here.
So when you vote on it,
I'll be fine there. So that means that we will consider that separately from the report. The first step is gonna be to vote on the motion that was made to separate it. If the board does not wish to separate it, that won't happen. If the board votes to separate it, then we will consider it separate. Is that clear?
no.
You don't understand what we're doing, Laverne?
Well, you're voting on taking that section out, right?
Yes.
Right, first we vote on taking it out, and then we vote on it. So it's a two-step process. So if you vote to take it out, you can still vote to support it. Or not.
Anyone else have any questions regarding what we're doing? Being none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Curtis,
Yes.
sorry, Ducat,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Taggart,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Scherf,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Zumwalt,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Bard,
Yes.
Barron,
No.
Botcher, was that yes? Okay, thank you. Bowers
Yes.
and Crow.
Sure.
Okay, we've separated out the paragraph regarding Mrs. Waltz and her application for a kennel license. Do you have anything you want to present, Mrs. Awful? You don't wish to make any motions regarding that paragraph or anything?
Yeah, I don't. I say we'll do it temporary. I move a motion to, have it temporary.
What does that mean, temporary?
I don't know, what is that?
6 months.
6 months temporary, just to see how it goes.
That's gotta become problematic with, you,
Let's wait and see if we have a second to the motion. Okay. Motion is to grant a temporary approval for the application for a 6-month period. Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion? Motion dies for lack of a second. Duquette.
I'd like to make a motion to have a temporary license for 1 year. They have to come back and revisit us.
Okay, there's a motion for a temporary license for
That
1
way
year.
our rules and requirements will be up to date.
Okay. Is there a second? Mr. Hughes seconds that.
I guess my question is, how long is the license for anyway? Are they redone every year?
Yes, yes.
So,
And kennel inspection, they
They'll
will.
meet the annual inspection, but they're not redone every year.
they don't have to pay a licensing fee every year?
Yes, they do.
So it is expired every year.
And I move that.
And any temporary, I mean, you're talking about when you have animals being bred, the gestation period, it becomes problematic. You know, it just,
I get what you're saying, but I want to make sure that.
Let's let Mr. Yerger comment, please.
Kennel licenses are approved and then they pay an annual licensing fee. You've instructed animal control to do inspections on a yearly basis on these kennels. If they are in violation of anything according to animal control, who are supposed to be the experts, then they should submit that information to us and for review. If they say it's still okay and good, the renewal should be, as long as they pay their fee, automatic. I don't see where this temporary stuff is necessary. It's already in place. If I get a report from animal control of any kennel in the county that's not operating up to code, under state licensing code, and then we would obviously investigate and determine if the licensing should be revoked. So I just think this is an unnecessary move, without even knowing what kind of operation is going to be run yet. It's not even an existing kennel. So we're making assumptions here that are way outside the realm of reality, in my opinion. And the renewal period situation was already in place.
Thank you for the explanation.
so, okay. We need a motion to approve or to not approve, is that where we're at?
With the temporary license.
You can always withdraw it.
Okay, so right now we're left, we separated this paragraph out, we're left without any motion for action.
Okay, so we can move to approve it as written.
Yes, sir.
I so move.
Is there a second? Mr. Duquette seconds that one. Is there any questions or comments regarding the motion that's been made to approve the application as written? Mrs. Crowe?
Remind me what the ordinance says about, numbers of dogs. I don't honestly recall.
Mr. Yerger?
There's a variation licensing fees based on the number of dogs. They apply for a certain number. Paulette applied for a licensing up to 12 dogs. It doesn't include pups. Pups are, you have nine?
Yeah.
You got so many
Under
months to
9 months.
disperse the pups after. The pups are not included in that number. These are the adult dogs.
Mm-hmm.
She's applied for up to 12. Currently, according to the animal control report, she has a capacity for 7. That doesn't mean she can't get a license for up to 12, but it's up to animal control to prove her capacity is better or can accommodate up to 12 dogs. She's applied for 12. Her current capacity is up to 7, and that does not include puppies.
Mm-hmm.
She has so much time to get rid of the puppies. So as of right now, her application is for 12 dogs, but animal control has stated in their report she has the capacity for 7, so that's what they'll enforce. If she gets the capacity up, she has the approval, and she will pay the according fee for up to 12 dogs, which is higher than up to 10 dogs.
Does that answer your question?
Sure. I am concerned about open spots.
That's the job of a breeder, and that's their business.
I understand about
There's a lot of breeders that end up rescue dogs too, because they can breeding their own, then we'll have.
If I will get a second.
Yeah.
Yes.
What'd you say, Mr.?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the application of Pauline Walsh as written. Are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Ducat?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
McTaggart?
Yes.
Awful? Sure?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Zumwalt?
Yes.
Alt? Bard?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Fletcher? Bowers?
Yes.
Crowe?
Yes.
Curtis? Motion carried.
Okay. Now we go back to the rest of the report. Are there any other questions or comments on the remainder of the report? It's already been moved for approval and second. Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Hughes? McTaggart?
Yes.
Awful?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Zumwalt?
Yes.
Alt? Bard?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Fletcher?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Crowe?
Yes.
Curtis? Ducat?
Yes. Okay. Moving on to judicial and public safety, Mr. Barron.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, the committee to whom was referred judicial and public safety would beg leave to submit the following report on matters before them. Your committee met at the courthouse on December 8, 2021 at 3 p.m. Member President LeBaron, Ducal, Bard, Hughes, McGinn. Donna Crowe and David Penny were absent. Also, the President, County Board Chairman John Schur, Sheriff Clint Levine, Coroner Bill Cheatham, Probation Supervisor Barb King, State's Attorney Jim Devine, Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines, and ETS Director Eric Raymond. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Paul Ducal, second by Steve Hughes to approve the agenda. Motion carried by voice vote. During public comments, County Board Chairman John Schur reminded those in attendance of the holiday luncheon being held on December 14th at the Waukegan County Table Restaurant. If you are planning to attend, you should contact Sarah Kuster at the County Clerk's office. Sheriff Clint Brzee presented his monthly report to the committee as follows. Physical agility testing for the new deputy list was on November 6th with 8 of 11 applicants showing up. One applicant failed the physical agility test and 7 applicants proceeded to the written test on November 13th, of which only 4 passed. These 4 candidates will be on the list for sheriffs to hire new deputies from going forward into 2022. Transports 2 inmates to the Department of Corrections on December 16th. Hired Wyatt Alt as a lateral transfer. Alt had previously worked as the Milford Chief of Police. After starting with them on August 8, 2019, Deputy Alt will be on field training for the next 8 weeks. Gilman contract started on December 1. 1 inmate is being housed for Department of Corrections as of November 27th. Department of Corrections has been contacted and we are awaiting the transport date from them. 47 arrests, intakes, current jail population is 15, 12 males, 3 female. On weekends, we had 4 weekenders, 3 males, 1 female, 1 on ankle bracelet. Jail, 9 doctor, hospital, emergency room visits this month, 2 mental health visits to the jail, 3 lab visits by Iroquois Memorial, 9 nurse visits every other Monday, 4 public health visits every Thursday. Jail overtime for November, 282.75. Part-time jail hours for November 23. Officer involved shooting on December 3rd from Rural Danforth involving 2 deputies. Officers are on administrative leaves with pay until completion of the investigation by Illinois State Police per policy. Suspect was taken to the hospital, has been charged, arrested, and posted with the required bond. Due to the officer-involved shooting, we may need to place on hold or provide less coverage for the Gilman contract car. Brzee has spoken with the mayor of Gilman regarding this, and he understands our staffing issue with having 2 less deputies due to administrative leave. Brzee said services are available for Iroquois Mental Health Center and also County Board Member Chad McGinnis if the officers need to speak to someone regarding the incident. The services are free of charge. The amount of time the officers will be on administrative is unknown. However, it could range from 30 days to 3 months. Ducal spoke with the changes being made in the interview room and asked Brzee to discuss it further. Brzee explained the room isn't used often is being converted into a recorded interview room. The wall and door will be installed and the investigators will be able to conduct their interviews. The room will be available for other departments as well. The improvements were paid from the maintenance budget. The maintenance supervisor along with part-time maintenance employee were able to complete the project. Duca suggested Purdue submit an American Rescue Plan Act application for funding the project. Coroner Bill Cheatham submitted an additional claim to be paid for autopsy. Probation Supervisor Barb King reviewed the probation report services activity report for November committee. State's Attorney Jim Devine reported he attended an annual State's Attorney Conference last week. The Assistant State's Attorney position remains vacant. Devine warned that there are many counties with Assistant State's Attorneys due to individuals not wanting to be associated with law enforcement at this time. Devine also discussed body cameras that will be mandated in 2025. The pros of the body cameras provide coverage and protection for the officers. However, the prosecution will be required to view every second of footage from all body cameras when an arrest is made. In some instances, footage has to be redacted. Devine is contemplating applying for Arpa funds to prepare for this mandate. Lastly, Devine presented a resolution for the Office of the State's Attorney's Appellate Prosecutor and an invoice for $8,000. They handled all of the court's appeals and conflict prosecutions. This moved by Chad McGinnis, second by Hughes to approve the resolution to the Office of the State's Attorney's Appellate Prosecutor in the amount of $8,000. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines distributed a monthly report for November to the committee. Total of $35,403.53 was received in fines. $1,171.03 was received from credit collection partners. Hines presented an ordinance paying the Iroquois County Law Library fee. Current ordinance states the law library fee not exceed $21 through December 31, 2021, effective January 2022. Filing fee is decreased to $20. It was moved by Roger Barr, second by Duca, to approve the ordinance amending Iroquois County Law Library fee. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. ETS Director Eric Raymond distributed his monthly ETS fee report to the committee. There's a Next Gen 911 grant due by the end of January. The grant would include a flyover which would assist with planning the zoning office. Last flyover was in 2014. Whereas the ETS board is searching for an individual to serve on its board. There was no old business, there was no new business. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Duca, second by McGinnis to pay the judicial public safety claims subject to county board approval. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Hughes and second by Duca to adjourn the meeting at 3:46 p.m. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. All which is respectfully submitted and I move for its adoption.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the Judicial Committee report. Is there a second? Mr. Ducat, second. Are there any questions or comments regarding the report? Mrs. Crowe?
Are you looking for an at-large member for the ETS board?
Yes, ma'am. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
McTaggart?
Yes.
Awful? Sure?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Dumont?
Yes.
Alt? Bard?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Bodger?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Crowe?
Yes.
Curtis? Ducat? Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, Finance Committee, Mr. McTaggart.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred finance would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. The committee met at the Administrative Center on December 9, 2021 at 9 a.m. Members present were McTaggart, Alt, Bowers, Curtis, Hughes, and Young. Johnson was absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Schur, Finance Manager Jill Johnson, County Clerk Brianne Suber, Sheriff Clint Brzee, EMEA Director Eric Stacy, County Engineer Joel Moore, County Treasurer Kurt Albers, and Susie Werner with Homestar Insurance. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Joe Young and seconded by Hughes to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. There were no public comments. Susie Werner with Homestar Insurance reported on the recent insurance changeover from Health Alliance to Blue Cross Blue Shield, stating everything went well. Medicare Advantage Plan with Health Alliance for Retirees is scheduled for renewal on January 1st, 2022. Werner will be sending a flyer to the finance office for employee distribution regarding pharmacies. CVS is not a preferred pharmacy. The flyer will provide information on Walmart Pharmacy and Iroquois Memorial Hospital Pharmacy, both of which are preferred pharmacies. CVS said they will likely be joining the network. Once this is finalized, an updated pharmacy listing will be sent out. Department heads gave their monthly reports. They are as follows. Sheriff Clint Brzee distributed his monthly report as follows. Physical agility testing for the new deputy list was on November 6th, with 8 of the 11 applicants present. 1 applicant failed the physical agility test. 7 applicants proceeded to the written test on November 13th, of which only 4 passed. These 4 candidates will be on the list for the sheriff department to hire new deputies from going forward from into 2022. Wyatt Holt was hired as a lateral transfer. Holt had previously worked as the Milford Chief of Police after starting with them on August 8th, 2019. Deputy Holt will be on field training for the next 8 weeks. Jail overtime for November was 282.75 hours. Part-time jail hours was 23 for November. Jail had 9 doctor hospital emergency room visits, 2 mental health visits, 3 lab visits by Iroquois Memorial Hospital, 9 nurse visits, 4 public health visits. Wall and associated costs for the interview room was paid for within the maintenance budget, but it will possibly be an item to apply for through the Arpa funds. Officer involved shooting on 12/3/2021 in rural Danforth involving 2 deputies. They are on administrative leave with pay until completion by investigation of the Illinois State Police for policy. Suspect was taken to the hospital, has been charged, arrested, and posted the required bond. The Gilman policing contract started on December 1st. Due to the officer involved shooting, we may need to place this on hold and provide less coverage for the Gilman contract car. Brzee has spoken to the mayor about this, and he understands our staffing issue with having 2 less deputies due to them being on administrative leave. County Clerk Brian Suber reported that the election omnibus bill that was passed this summer and the follow-up trailer bill. There are required mailings that have to be mailed out informing registered voters of their ability to get on the permanent vote by mail list. The letters will be mailed prior to the primary election. An additional mailing will be done before the general election, notifying any registered voter that didn't sign up for permanent vote by mail lists that they have the ability to do so. There has also been a change to the questions on the statement of economic interest forms. Super has submitted 2 ARPA grant applications. 1 application is to fund 10 years of records to be digitized and posted online. The second application is funding for election equipment. Treasurer Albers reported the final tax distribution was completed last month. Albers is looking to invest additional monies into an account with a higher paying interest rate. Albers said he has found a firm to invest with, but it would require amending the county's investment policy because the account would not be held in Iroquois County. Albers will keep the committee updated. EMEA Director Eric Stacey reported that he has been working on planning and hosting a tabletop exercise for a hazardous material incident. The exercise was conducted on December 6th and included Gromar, multiple fire departments, and healthcare agencies. Stacey hosted a hazardous material awareness class on November 13th, and Stacey attended a regional meeting for the Illinois Emergency Management Agency. Stacey applied for a grant within the IEMA for hazard mitigation to help finish writing the plan. Correspondence was received stating Iroquois County has been selected to move forward in the process. Stacey said that we were one of 17 counties to move forward in the process. Lastly, future trainings consist of aircraft training, active shooter training, and cyber attack training. County Board Chairman John Schur reminded those in attendance of the holiday luncheon being held on December 14th after the county board meeting at the Watsika family table. Those attending should contact Sarah Coaster in the county clerk's office. Also, Schur said he received a letter from a gentleman in Colorado that works for the United States Post Office in regards to the post office in Claytonville, Illinois. Schur believes the intent is to close the Claytonville, Illinois post office. He will keep the committee updated. Lastly, Sure will distribute a new list of committee assignments at the board meeting on Tuesday. The new list includes combining the finance committee and the IT committee. Sizes of the committees will also be reduced to prepare for the change of the number of board members. Finance manager Jill Johnson reported the audit process is beginning and the auditors will be on site next week to do preliminary work. Johnson requested the committee review the draft balance sheet that was prepared by the treasurer's office. The capital improvement fund and the joint dispatch fund are showing negative balance and will need to transfer from the general fund to bring them into positive balance. Johnson explained more funds were used from these accounts than anticipated. Joint dispatch fund also had some unforeseen overtime due to employee turnover this past year. Johnson said she is more confident with the overtime budgeted for fiscal year 22. It was moved by McTaggart and seconded by Hughes to transfer $82,000 from the general fund into the county improvement fund and $82,000 from the general fund into the joint dispatch center fund. A roll call vote was taken and the motion carried. In regards to funding for joint dispatch, Sure informed the committee he chose to move forward with the same billing process as what was used in the past. A letter was included with the billing advising agencies that we will be revising our process. Sure has since continued to work on these changes. Some of these changes could include charging the ambulance and fire departments on calls for service basis. However, it does not appear that the police departments can be charged the same due to some inconsistencies. If the county engages in additional law enforcement contracts, such as the contract in Gilman, that will be less money charged to the police departments. I'm sure welcomes any suggestions for how we do that billing. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Young and seconded by Powers to pay the finance claims subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was taken, motion carried. There was no old business, no new business. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Hughes and seconded by Bowers to adjourn at 9:24 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to approve the finance committee report, seconded by Mr. Young. Are there any questions or comments regarding the report?
Well, sure, we are holding off, or are we going to go through the
We're going through with it, but sure, but we might delay it a little bit just due to the shortage.
That's correct, yeah.
And it sounded, like I said there in the report, he had
I know
already
they've
spoken with the mayor and they were understanding of the situation, so.
Basically been put on pause.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Raffle? Yes. Sure?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Zumwalt?
Yes.
Alt?
Yes.
Bard?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Botcher?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Crowe?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Ducat?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
And McTaggart.
Yes.
Arpa committee, Mr. Ducat.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred, American Rescue Plan Act, Arpa, their bank and then submit the following report and matters before them. Your committee met Administrative Center on November 9th, 2021 at 12:30 p.m. Members present were Ducat, Crowe, Awful, the sheriff. Also present, finance manager Johnson, county clerk Suber, Sheriff Brzee, state's attorney Devine, Judge Sable, Judge Bartucci, probation director Latham, probation supervisor Mrs. King, circuit clerk Lisa Hines, supervisor of assessments Pop Yegler, and EMA director Eric Stiesek. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by John Scher and seconded by Barb Awful to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. There were no public comments. ARPA informational packets were distributed to those in attendance, and a presentation of the act was given as follows. ARPA was signed into law on March 11, 2021, and Iroquois County was allotted $5,266,500 $5,266,577 to help mitigate the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. As of October 7th, there were 4,116 total COVID-19 cases and 3,393 confirmed cases, and 74 individuals passed away from COVID-19. Our current population is 27,114, with 15,014 individuals receiving their first dose of the vaccine and 12,218 individuals receiving their second dose of the vaccine. The intent of the funds is for qualified businesses, non-for-profit entities, projects, or direct to individuals based upon the ARPA rules, location, need, impact, and equity. With the knowledge that the municipalities receive their own allocations, focus will be on rural areas of the county, county infrastructure, and potential future emergency-related issues. All applicants are urged to read the interim final rule. Policy and procedures have been put in place by the ARPA committee. Before ARPA funds are utilized, special internal and/or other grant funds must be exhausted. The committee will identify and support the communities that were unable or ineligible to participate in the CURES, PPP, CARES programs. Any grantees program that represents similar geography and/or service area to another grantee will be encouraged to coordinate and work together. Priority will be given to locally owned businesses and to employee students within the county. Iroquois County will support submitted application, infrastructure improvements, and grant opportunities that address the effects of the pandemic in Iroquois County. Support will be designed to reduce future burden upon taxpayers and address infrastructure needs. Solicit public involvement, construct a consensus for projects, and continue transparency modeled by all of Iroquois County administration processes. A public meeting is being held on November 16th at 6 p.m. ARPA funds are not directly available for private and nonprofit entities within any municipality, school district, health department, homeowner, renters with municipalities, tourism-related entity or business, or any other entity that is eligible or is eligible for and receive ARPA funds via municipalities, PPP, SBA, and/or associated direct federal, state, and/or municipal relief funds. These entities have access to other ARPA funding and must apply to those sources first in order to be eligible for ARPA fund allocations. Common county submissions include public health, negative economic impact, service to disproportionately, I messed up on that one. Impacted communities, premium pay, infrastructure, revenue replacement, and administrative expenses. ARPA Chairman Duque explained there are two applications. One application is for under 50,000, and the second application is for funds exceeding 50,000. Applications under 50,000 do not require quarterly reports. Finance Manager Johnson also noted that anyone turning in an application over 50,000 must have an active DUNS number and an active SAMS.gov registration. Moving forward, all applications should be submitted to the finance office and they will be reviewed by the ARPA committee. If an applicant has already received funds such as CARE funds, they can still be considered but will be less of a priority. The funds they receive from the CARES and or the funding must be spent first. An applicant must submit multiple applications. Premium pay for employees will be discussed. Johnson said to ask the AFSCME union representative requested a meeting and requested a dollar amount for the union employees. A second meeting date is yet to be determined. Johnson suggests department heads put an application together for those employees not in the union if they are considering premium pay. If an applicant is unsure of the amount they are required for funding, an approximate amount should be listed on the application. Also, if the applicant applies for a certain amount, but their project requires less funding, they will receive the lesser amount. The next ARPA meeting will be held December 14th at 1 p.m. There will be also a public informational meeting on November 16th at 6 p.m. There was no old business, there was no new business, and there was no further business to come before the committee. Is moved by Awful and seconded by Crowe to adjourn at 1:17:15. Motion carried by a voice vote. All which is regularly submitted and ask for its approval.
Let's do the other report and then we'll vote on both together.
Sorry about that. Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, the committee to whom was referred, ARPA would beg to leave submit the following report on the matters before them. The committee met at Administrative Center on November 16th at 6 p.m. Members present: Duquette, Crowe, Awful, and Sure. Also present, Finance Manager Jill Johnson, and Crossroads Youth Center, Craig Cheever, and Stockland Fire Department, Dave Morrison, with the Stockland Fire, Tim McLean with Crescent EMS, Scott Shockley of Buckley, Peggy Shockley of Buckley, Randy Hyman of Gilman, Vicki Goldenstein of Danforth, Eric Brandt of the city of Watseka, Gerald Regan with the village of Danforth, Debbie Crones with the Iroquois County 4-H and Ag Fair, George Runkle with the village of Iroquois, Kathy Hebert with Watseka, Sarah Rosenberg with the Milford Park District, Randall Shuffle with the with the Milford Township Park District, Mike Rubel with WIBR River Country, Peggy Gossett with Volunteer Services of Iroquois County, Chuck Woolman, Dale Starr, Susan Wynn Vance with Gibson Area Hospital, Kevin Price and Craig Luke with Milford Building and Loan, Phil Angelo with the Daily Journal, Carl Gudovich with WGFA Radio, and County Board Member Roger Bard and Lyle Behrens. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Charlie Alt, second by Donna Crowe, to approve the agenda. Motion carried by voice vote. There were no public comments. ARPA Chairman Duquette reviewed the ARPA informational packet to those in attendance. Duquette explained in March of 2021, the ARPA was signed into act. In the law, there was $350 billion allocated for state and local recovery efforts, and Iroquois County was allotted a little over $5.2 million. The funds will be received in 2 equal portions and are intended to help mitigate the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic. The funds will be used to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and make investments in the infrastructure related to the pandemic and current future mitigations. Statistics from the health department's website show 4,116 total COVID cases, with 3,393 confirmed cases, 723 probable cases, and 74 individuals have passed away with COVID-19. Iroquois County's population is 27,114. The percent of our population to receive the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccination is 48%, and the percent of the population to receive the second dose of COVID-19 vaccination is 45.1%. Iroquois County intends to allocate funds for qualified businesses, not-for-profit entities, projects, or direct to individuals based on ARPA rules. The focus will be on the rural areas of the county infrastructure, and potential future emergency-related issues. Iroquois County residents rely on services from the county offices. The Iroquois County Public Health Department and ETSP 911 are separate entities managed by their own board of funding resources. These departments have access to outside of ARPA funds allocated by the United States Department of Treasury. The county board will look to identify areas of cooperation with these 2 identities. Policies and procedures have been established by the committee as follows. Before ARPA funds will utilize, special internal and or other grant funds will be exhausted. Identify and support communities that were ineligible to participate in the CARES PPP CARES program. Grantees must demonstrate access to continue operations post ARPA funding of county funding. Any grantees program that represents similar geography and or service areas to another grantee will be encouraged to coordinate and work together. Priorities will be given to locally owned businesses and to employees/students within the county. Solicit public involvement, construct a consensus for projects, and continue transparency modeled by all of Iroquois County administration process. Iroquois County will support submitted applications, infrastructure improvements, and grant opportunities that address the effects of the pandemic of Iroquois County. Support will be designed to reduce future burden upon taxpayers and address infrastructure needs. The ARPA funds are not directly available for private for-profit entities within municipalities, school district, health department, homeowners, renters within municipalities, tourism-related entities or businesses, or any other entity that is eligible for received ARPA funds via municipalities, PPP, SBA, and or associated direct federal, state, and or municipal relief funds. These entities have access to other ARPA funds and must apply to those sources first in order to be eligible for the ARPA funds allocations. Common county submissions include public health, negative economic impact, services to disproportionately impacted communities, premium pay, infrastructure, revenue replacement, administrative expenses. Finance Manager Jill Johnson stressed the importance of reviewing the internal final rule. All applications should be submitted to the finance office There are two separate ARPA allocations. One application is for funding under $50,000. The second application is for funding over $50,000. Johnson informed everyone that the quarterly reports are not required for funds awarded less than $50,000. The funds needed to be allocated by December of 2023, but the projects funded can extend through 2026. Johnson noted all county offices are eligible for funding. Westrow addressed the committee asking if the funds could be appropriated for infrastructure on the county farm and offering it for commercial and residential development. It was encouraged for cities and municipalities to submit applications for their needs. Applications were provided within the informational packets, and they will be also available on the county's website. There was no old business or no new business, and there was no further business to come before the committee. It was moved by John Schuer, seconded by Barr, also to adjourn at 6:30 p.m. Motion carried by votes for. Now I ask for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve both ARPA committee reports, seconded by Mrs. Raffles. Are there any questions or comments on these two reports? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Sure.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt. Bard.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Sauter.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Ducat.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
McTaggart.
Yes.
And Awful.
Yes.
Okay, IT committee, Mr. Young.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred IT would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the administrative center on December 9, 2021 at 9:35 a.m. Members present were Young, McTaggart, Bowers, Hughes, Schuer. Also present, Finance Manager Jill Johnson, County Clerk Brian Suber, and Michael Tabor with Area Wide. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Michael McTaggart and seconded by John Schuer to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. During public comments, County Board Chairman John Schuer announced this meeting will be the final meeting of the IT committee. Going forward, the IT committee will be combined with the Finance committee. Michael Tabor with Area Wide gave the committee an update on phone upgrade for Reader Technologies. The project is not complete yet, but is expected to be done within the next few weeks. Finance Manager Jill Johnson added Reader Technologies ran into some issues with the SIP trunk lines and is working with AT&T to get the issues resolved. The county has been paying a higher rate with AT&T since October, but Johnson said the amount is approximately $1,000 higher than usual, which isn't as high as the committee expected. Tabor also reported on the renewals for services and software. The host service haven't been renewed in the past because they were purchased 5 years ago. Johnson provided copies of Area Wide's quotes for the renewals of the host service at VMware. Tabor discussed email security, stating there are logs that track what links users click on in their emails. Tracking each user has become troublesome with other clients as well, and Tabor suggested turning the feature off. However, the email security would still be in place, but the added feature of knowing the individual clicking on the links will be removed. Area Wide is assisting the jail and courthouse with video conferencing solutions. The Sheriff's Department also has an older switch that Area Wide recommends replacing. While working on the Illinois Economic Development Association computer, it was found that IEDA and Veterans Assistance are operating on Iroquois County's guest network. Area Wide recommends removing them from the domain for increased security. On-site visits continue to go well, and have allowed the Area Wide representative to clean up map drives and do years of cleanup during his downtime. Tabor said Area Wide also continues to work on the .gov domain. Tabor spoke about the backup servers issues and will send a quote to Johnson. Other items included for the FY22 budget year are UPS batteries and the SAN server. Tabor will send quotes for all items. There was no old business, there was no new business. As there was no further business coming before the committee, it was moved by McTaggart and seconded by Bowers to adjourn at 9:51 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted and I move for its adoption.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the IT committee report, seconded by Mr. Bowers. Are there any questions or comments regarding the report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Young.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt, Barred,
Yes.
Behrens,
Yes.
Botcher,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Ducat, Hughes,
Yes.
McTaggart,
Yes.
Awful, and Sure.
Yes. Transportation and Highway Committee, Mr. Alt. Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, the committee to whom was referred Transportation and Highway for big leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. The committee met at the Iroquois County Highway Building on December 10th, 2021 at 9:08 a.m. Members present were all Young, Crowe, Johnson, Paul, Ducat, and Johnson, Sherry Johnson, and Chapman Kittis were absent. Also present, County Engineer Joel Moore. The meeting was called to order. During the public comments, County Board Chairman John Scher reminded the committee of the holiday luncheon being held on December 14th at the Plastic Family Table Restaurant. Those interested in attending should contact Sarah Brewster, County Clerk's office. It was moved by Young and seconded by Crowe. Approved the agenda. Motion carried by a vote. Claims and financial reports for the months were reviewed. It was moved by Young and seconded by Crowe to pay the bill subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. County highway, $62,554. County bridges, $16,143. County matching, $121,054. TBP 0, county MFT, $59,424. Township MFT, $29,052. County engineer Joel Moore reviewed his overall fiscal 21 budget with the committee. The county highway fund ended the year with repairs and shop supplies and miscellaneous exceeding their budget amounts, but 87.5% overall was used. For presented petition for county aid in Loaded Township. Both petitions are for bridge replacement costing $425,000 and $750,000. It is moved by Crowe, second by Sure, accept petition for the two bridges designed in Loaded Township. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Board reviewed the resolution agreement an agreement for the county engineer's salary fiscal year 22. After a re-ranking, the county engineer's salary was increased to $115,140 annually. This is an approximately 2.16% increase. The agreement states the county will pay at least 95% of the Illinois Department of Transportation recommended salary. Included in the salary amount is $2,000 for expenditures. It is moved by Crowe and seconded by Young to accept the agreement. Transportation recommended amount, which is $115,140. This amount to approximately 2.16%, increasing includes $2,000 in expenses for conferences and continuing education. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Or inform the committee that general maintenance levy being moved back to month. There is no new business. There is no old business. As there was no further business, the committee is moved by Young and seconded by Crowe to adjourn at 9:28 a.m. Motion carried by George Fuller. All of this is submitted. I recommend its passage. Motion on the floor to approve the highway committee report. Is there a second? Okay. Are there any questions or comments regarding the highway committee report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Bard.
Yes.
Behrens.
Yes.
Botcher.
Yeah.
Bowers.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Ducat.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
McTaggart.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
And Young.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on your agenda in front of you, you have a list of the appointments for this month. Do we have a motion to approve those appointments? Mr. Bowers, is there a second? Mr. Hughes? Are there any questions or comments regarding the appointments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, that motion passes. Next, we have claims. Everybody should have received a copy of the claims. We have a motion to approve. We have, in addition, before we get a second, excuse me, we have some additional claims here that were presented to me this morning. I'll read them off. One is for drug testing for $152.50. One is from probation, $41.46 for service fees. Another one is from probation for juvenile boarding for $1,190. And then we have the one from the state's attorney for the state appellate prosecutor for $8,000. We have one from the coroner for autopsies and x-rays for $1,175. Not sure why the one from the coroner is in there, because it's signed by the committee chairman, but the others were not. The others came in late, so. These are in addition to the claims that you've already received, so. Having that motion, do we have a second? We don't. Are there any questions or comments regarding the claim? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Alt, Barnes.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bosher.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Bowers.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Ducat.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
McTaggart.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before the board this morning? Is there any new business to come before the board? A motion to adjourn. Mr. Duca, second by Mr. All. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The meeting is adjourned. We have the table restaurant in 20 minutes.